it is my intention to be a place where the lives of others is honored. And that starts with me as an actress, right? So I'm interested, I'm aiming for, I'm asking inside when I am given the opportunity and the responsibility of portraying a character, I am asking to be that place where that person, that experience is honored. And that's real for me, right? And so there's that intention happening. And, the intention in my life is to use everything to grow and to be in relationship with whatever my challenges are, to be in healthy, growth-minded relationship with anything that I'm challenged with.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and riches blessings, and welcome to Take Back Your Mind. I am your host, Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, and every week we seek to have a conversation with a being who's doing just what the name of the podcast is, assisting people to take back their mind, to take that their mind that has been hijacked from worry, doubt, fear, anxiousness, anxiety, low self-esteem, and being captured in the matrix of scarcity, lack, and limitation. We have a mind. We're not our minds, but oftentimes the minds have been programmed not by us. So we have to take it back so it becomes full to overflowing with possibility. And so today I welcome you. And guess what? I have somebody here in studio with me. And so when I say she's a friend of mine, that's not Hollywood talk. We've known each other for years. I'm talking about none other than Tina Lifford. I'll tell you just a little bit about her. Hollywood veteran. She's played over 100 characters in her long-standing career, including most notably the vivacious Aunt Vi on the critically acclaimed television drama Queen Sugar. She has starred opposite Hollywood greats Clint Eastwood, I remember that, Jennifer Lopez, Bruce Willis, and many, many more. Outside of acting, Tina is the author of The Little Big Book of Lies, released by HarperCollins and chosen by Forbes.com as a must-read to make 2021 your best year yet. She's truly a visionary thought leader in the field of inner fitness. As a strategist and architect behind the Inner Fitness Project, she brings deep wisdom, personal experience, and respect for the human condition that allows her to engage people in the process of internal transformation, healing, and resilience building necessary for this time in human history that we're moving through. As an author and speaker, Tina fosters the idea that we can all live well and thrive, and that is who Tina is. She's my buddy. I don't even know where to start. We've known each other for so many years. But Tina.
Yes. It's nice to say that, right?
What's
that
that?
We've known one another for so many years.
I know. I was just telling the folks out there, I said, me and Tina go back. She's my real friend, for real.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Like before Agape.
Way before Agape, when I was in my living room having counseling sessions.
That's right. That's right.
And you were at Agape on Sunday, and I happened to mention, and you were in the audience, and said that Tina is the individual that actually manifested her dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't BS about it.
Yeah. You know what it is? I took every word seriously.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember.
It's like none of it was just a sermon for me.
Right.
None of it was just words for me.
Right.
Every single time that I walked into Agape and every book that I read was instructional for me.
Right.
My brain was trying to figure out, how do you take these words and these amazing ideas and put them into action?
Right. Now, you were a true manifester. And beyond just like manifesting things, you actually cultivated a vision, and you actually wanted to be an actor and actually get paid for it, and actually create the lifestyle you wanted to live, and you actually wanted to be an individual that assisted others in unleashing the inner fire within their own soul. Thus, inner fitness is born. So you carried both dynamics.
Yep.
You blended them well.
Yeah.
You know, so if you can go way back, over 40 years ago, I know you're only 46, but you know, what actually led you to your spiritual walk? What were the breadcrumbs that pulled you?
So if we're talking about what led me to my spiritual walk, I would say that I came here an old soul.
Yeah.
Because I've been interested in things that most kids were not interested in, and a lot of people were not interested in until, I found a community where everyone was interested in the same thing, which is discovering self with what I call self within self at this point.
Right.
And but there was a very specific thing that happened in my life that made me as committed to the work of inner fitness as I am. And that is, I knew that I wanted to be an actress when I was in the 2nd grade.
Wow.
I knew that, right? I grew up back east, and they had electives, and you always had to
What
take
city? Where
drama
were you?
in Evanston, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
You always had to, take a drama class and other liberal arts kinds of things. And so in the 2nd grade, whenever I was in, an acting situation, I always shined. People liked it, and I liked being in that situation. In the 5th grade, I had I signed up for the school talent show, and I signed up to sing. And on the day of the talent show, I am in gym class, and the roster for the talent show for that evening comes out, and I see my name is number 1.
Singing.
Singing, exactly. And I saw my name as number 1, and I went, ah. And for whatever the reason, seeing my name first freaked me out. And when I took that holding my breath, that uncertainty, that fear was now with me for the next 4, 5, 6 hours until it was time for the talent show. I stepped on stage, and they started to play. I was singing the song Old John Henry. And I stepped on stage. The pianist gave me the intro, and I went, "Oh, John Henry."
And he just stopped.
Nothing else happened. I was frozen. You talk about fight, flight, or freeze.
Right.
I was frozen. All I could see, all I could experience were the bright lights that were beating down on me. I vaguely began to hear the pianist, and she kept playing, trying to help me to find my way. I literally could not find my way. To the point that finally, after what felt like an eternity, my teacher came to center stage and had to pick me up. I couldn't move.
She physically picked you up.
Physically picked me up like I was a cardboard caricature. And took me to the wings. Now, I don't remember there being a lot of flack around that. I don't remember a bunch of shame or embarrassment, but the freezing was total. and complete. And so, I knew in the second grade that I wanted to be an actress. Now here I am with this thing here, right?
Yeah.
Well, as trauma does, it fades into the background. I forget about it. I'm forging my career decades later as an actress, and then something triggers it. And then I find myself for not a few minutes, not a week, not a year, but for years, when my phone would ring and that was voice. That was
those tape recorder.
Tape recorder. Yeah. And it would be my agent. There would be neurological things happen that I had no control over, and I would be in the bathroom getting ready for the audition, and literally this would be happening, right? And it was painful. And I think the thing that was most painful about it is that I consider myself an authentic person, right?
You are.
And here I was shining in so many ways. And even, in my career as an actress. But this unseen thing made me question if I was a fraud. How could this exist?
Right.
And this other thing be true?
Right.
And that was before we had the insights that we have now around, neuroscience, et cetera. So I had to figure this out. And it took years. It took probably 10, 15, 20 years. And where I am today with it, I mean, first off, I consider it nothing but a blessing.
Yeah.
Right? Because without it, I would not be in the position to be in the conversation of inner fitness.
Right.
Right? And I was a person who always appreciated, other human beings, but to be able to stand in the knowing of what other people are dealing with and to leave the realm, the fantasy, the ego-driven narrative that doesn't happen to me, it's a blessing, right? Because if you are a human being and you have a neurological wiring, there are things that go with that experience that every human being has. Now, can you work and expand and move beyond and rewire? Absolutely.
Right.
But we should let go of any sort of pretense that we are above or beyond or have shame about anything, because we are neurological creatures. Thank goodness we have everything inside to be able to rewire and address. But more importantly, if we have a fingerprint that is unique,
right?
If our DNA is unique,
right,
then we are here to uniquely show up.
Yes.
Right?
Incomparable.
With whatever is on your, what I call, playing field. Whatever it is. So, poor parenting, drug addiction, incarceration, abuse, rape, all of that stuff. When you realize that you come here with an internal ability, not given to you, innate,
right?
An internal ability to expand and to lean into the idea that there is nothing against you,
Right.
regardless of the things that bump into you,
Right.
then you can use your mind in ways that have you sort of use your life to affirm that your life, just as it is, has innate purpose that only you can fulfill.
Right. If you don't do you, you're not going to be done. So listen, this neurological energy, this was going on well into your acting career.
Yeah.
You'd get it?
Yeah.
And so in that moment that was happening, either your agent called you or you're working.
Yeah.
You know, what would you do in that moment to transcend that?
Yeah. So let me tell you, you know the saying that
Because when you're on the screen, you just own the screen. You are that character. That character.
Yeah.
But she just comes through.
Yeah.
Woof,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that allows us to talk briefly about intention, right? So it is my intention to be a place where the lives of others is honored. And that starts with me as an actress, right? So I'm interested, I'm aiming for, I'm asking inside when I am given the opportunity and the responsibility of portraying a character, I am asking to be that place where that person, that experience is honored. And that's real for me, right? And so there's that intention happening. And, you know, the intention in my life is to use everything to grow and to be in relationship with whatever my challenges are, to be in healthy, growth-minded relationship with anything that I'm challenged with. And so...
Well, let's stop right there, because that means that every time you get ready to do your thing, with this neurological condition begins to express, it's creating a big space for you to become more you.
That's exactly right.
It's like,
That's
it's
exactly
like,
right.
it's becoming, it's not something to close you down.
That's exactly right.
But you're using it to actually become the character, to give an honest version of the best of that character. It takes you over. So it's more like a blessing at this point.
Well,
not when you were in the 5th grade.
No. You know, and I'm being specific because, well, first off, we all have our journey, right? And there are schools of thought that say that with trauma you never totally heal it. And I don't know. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care.
I like that. I like that. Who cares?
What I care about is, do I have the mindset and the relationship with myself that in the midst of the unforeseen, I can take care of myself. That's what I'm interested in, right? And so actually just last year, post Queen Sugar, I did a job, and there is, I don't know if it happens specifically in this way for anyone else. I'm going to tell you what happens for me. So just in general, I have what's called, this is my term for it, blank name syndrome. I can know a person's name up one side and down the other. And the moment I look and see that person, and I know I need to call that person by name everything gets blocked.
Yes.
And I don't know that person's name. Right? And then I do all of these workarounds,
Right.
you know.
Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. All right. So I am aware that the moment a little bit of panic happens inside, that there is the ability for that block to happen. Not just with names, but to happen. So I'm in this work situation. They, have invested a lot to have me there.
Right.
And it's the very first scene of my, several weeks that I'm going to be on this film. And I swoop in, and we're in the first scene, and my panic is, do I know the line? Am I going to know the line?
Right.
And it was like,
where is it?
Right? And, it wasn't total, but it was happening. And I'm like, and I see the eyes of the producers who have hired me. And I'm sure they're going, what the frick, that we get ourselves into. And I had to do the line a number of times. And at one point I said, what the frick is the line, right? And then I knew that I was in a panic spiral.
Right.
And that I needed to break that.
Right.
And so what I did was I became incredibly still inside of myself. And I began to do simple things like my feet are on the ground. My butt is on the chair. I'm in a safe place. The lines are present. And I know what I'm doing. And what that does is that it helps to break the fight, flight, or freeze that happens when trauma takes you over. Right? And when trauma takes us over, it short circuits the access to the frontal cortex. And with that access gone, the frontal cortex is responsible for our executive functioning, our decision making, our ability to assess, to analyze, to be present in a proactive way with the challenges that are in front of us. And so the work is to come to understand how the body works, how the brain operates, so that we can, instead of feeling doomed and overwhelmed, because you never know what's going to, ignite your trigger.
The world of phenomena is always spinning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
So did you get the line?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, and it's what's fascinating is the rest of the shoot was magical, right? And I will say that again, the human condition is an amazing thing. So there was a person who was a part of the production who wanted answers for that moment and wanted to hang on to that moment and wanted to judge me for that moment. But that wasn't that wasn't me, that was her.
Right.
So I was able to just not pay her any attention.
Right.
Literally no attention. I mean, I could get engaged and be kind and cordial and all of that. But her, whatever she needed had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I say that because literally, you could see that they became aware of and accepted, well, I mean, maybe she was just tired or something.
But it was over.
It was over.
It was done.
It was over.
But I also appreciate the fact that what you went through, you gave yourself like really affirmative self-talk.
No question about it.
You
No
actually could have been other chatter going on.
No question about it.
But you didn't pay attention to that other chatter.
No question.
You went right to taking over your own mind. You
Yes.
took back your own mind and just said, I can do this. And oftentimes when people get in that spiral, they pick up the other thought that said, oh, you're messing up. You're going to make a mistake. People aren't going to like, whatever that voice says. You didn't give that voice entrance, it appears.
So I love having this conversation with you. I just do. And the work that I'm doing in the world that's called Inner Fitness, the Inner Fitness Project, I can say this to Reverend Michael because I know so many of your stories, right? When we want something,
Mm-hmm.
it wants us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we want something, to the degree that we yearn for it, and I consider yearning a very high energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not beseeching.
Right.
It's not. Yearning is letting yourself be vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
and filled with a desire that is bigger than you.
Right. Beautiful.
And how can you be a place where that can,
Right.
show up and expand you?
Right.
So I was, because of the stage fright, because of my career and my desires, I was yearning
Mm-hmm.
for answers
Mm-hmm.
that would help me understand. And this was prior to all of the neuroscience we now have.
Right.
And I can't tell you how long I had been yearning. I can just tell you how deeply I had been yearning.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up from a very deep sleep, having had a dream.
Mm.
And this dream literally changed my life and gave me the Inner Fitness Project.
Mm-hmm.
So, the upshot of the dream, and if you want to see the dream, you can go to the Tina Lifford dream on YouTube, and I've actually made it into a 5-minute film.
Mm.
But the upshot was that I woke up with the realization that inside of us, there is a range to our being.
Mm-hmm.
And I named this range the surviving self,
Mm-hmm.
the thriving self,
Mm-hmm.
and the infinite self.
Mm-hmm.
That had never crossed my mind before.
Right.
And what it gave me was that within there is this resource and this perfect way of taking care of ourselves. Now, the surviving self is all about worry, doubt, and fear.
Mm-hmm. Fight, flight, all of that.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with neuroscience, we now know that that's very, very appropriate and smart for the surviving self, because the surviving self has been conditioned for survival for 500 million years. So we got to go all the way back to when, the nervous system that
Right.
we're working with
Right.
began to build itself.
Right. Just to survive.
Yes, and that's
It's pretty cool.
human.
It's pretty cool, too.
Right.
You see something coming, you got to get out of
You
there.
got to get out of there. And that's before before we became humanoids, right?
Right.
So we are talking about that lizard or reptile experience. You see those reptiles freeze or, move very quickly. So that is the journey that our nervous systems have taken to be able to note danger so that we can stay alive, so that we can, procreate.
Right.
Surviving self is very important.
Right.
And now in today's modern world, that surviving self, the more we engage with it in a healthy way, we get to know that it's part of our gut, that helps us to sort of sense danger, even if we can't see it. And then you have the thriving self. Now, the thriving self is the part of us that is hope, possibility, empathy, gratitude, alignment, just all of those energies that are innately affirming, right? And the thing about the thriving self that I want to share is there's a piece of science that says that we think somewhere between 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
80% of that thinking is negative.
Right. And it's repetitive.
95% is repetitive.
Right.
So when you take that statistic and you understand the 500 million years that the surviving self has been, refining its abilities, you have to wonder how we accomplish anything.
Right.
Right?
Other than survive.
Other than survive.
Right.
And how do we do that?
Right.
It's because that thriving self that is associated with, now this is just my framework, right? But it's associated in real time with the frontal cortex, the ability to see and to objectively analyze and consider and all of that, right?
Even think about consequences of actions. All of that.
All of that. But here's what blows my mind, when I realized it. In all of the surviving on the planet that is happening in mankind, how have individuals pulled life forward? It's because that 20% and that 5% that isn't owned by the surviving mechanism is frickin' powerful.
Right. You know what's interesting about that? That's a very similar percentage to population of the world. 20% and 5% of the people drawing the evolution of humanity forward. There's always a small percentage of people that catch an insight, a revelation, a vision. Let's do something different. They're in the minority at first.
Yes.
It's a very small percentage.
Yes.
The 20-80% is what happens in corporations.
Yes.
20% of the people do 80% of the work.
Yes.
The rest are kind of just doing their job.
Yes.
So that's interesting statistic based on the surviving self within us.
That's exactly
that 20% is kicking butt.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right. And I was like,
it is mind-blowing.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because within that, there are instructions, It's like, so the 20% of me that I so often step over, dealing with, distracted by this surviving self, to the degree that I can intentionally learn and strengthen that 20%, I am invincible.
Right. And that's a part of your spiritual practice to get to that. Yeah.
So,
which takes you into the third domain.
So, and the infinite self.
Right.
The infinite self is it's the all. You know, we know that form is a representative of duality. The infinite self isn't in duality.
No,
right?
Doesn't exist for the infinite self.
Right. And so in this framework and model, and I of course my spiritual work had to have made, room for this dream and for me to understand it and for this dream to continue to teach me, now for 20 years. But the surviving self is unaware of the thriving and the infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is always going to behave reactively.
Mm-hmm.
It is always going to be, the default is always going to be worry, doubt, and fear, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The thriving self is aware of the surviving self.
That's right.
And the thriving self is aware of the infinite self.
Right.
And the thriving self becomes a essential, critical aspect of our being, because when we give time to the thriving self, we literally open ourselves to the infinite, and we literally can, with love and consciousness, penetrate the surviving self. The infinite is there loving us either way.
Unconditionally, totally, no compromise, no contradiction.
The infinite doesn't see the thriving or the surviving. It
can't.
It's just, it's there being.
Yeah. It's like clouds in the
is.
sky. The sky is just there.
It's just there.
No judgment.
Just there.
Anything the infinite sees is infinite. So it can only see what's real.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So the fitness, inner fitness, is born.
Yes.
Okay. So your acting is happening.
Yep.
You're working with the mitigating or the embracing or the transcending and transmuting, the stage fright, whatever you want to call
All
it.
of those are great words.
And at some point, inner fitness is birthed. And in that, you have strategies to assist people to actually claim the thriving and infinite self. You have basic strategies that if people really take them on and actually practice them, they'll see a shift in their experience in the world. Yeah. So when did inner fitness emerge?
So
Not as a personal practice, but when did it emerge? Like,
I
want to give this to the world.
Yeah. So it was 2009.
Okay.
In my journals, that's I had a dream, not the dream that I just spoke about, but I literally woke up one morning, and before I opened my eyes, I saw inner fitness on the back of my lids. And I literally did this. I went, that says it all. Right? That was the answer that I had been asking for. And it was like, that says it all.
Right.
I had gone through 2 other iterations of names that just didn't fit the idea and the mission, of having inner fitness become as ubiquitous, as well understood and actionable as physical fitness.
Yeah. No, it's powerful. Inner fitness that's a hell of a brand.
Yeah. And
to take it like that, I think people have put things together similar, but for you to just embrace inner fitness, it's powerful.
Yeah. And so that was 2009. In 2010, 10, I started writing my book, The Little Book of Big Lies.
Right.
And I mentioned inner fitness in that book, but the book was really aimed at sharing insights and ways of seeing ourselves hijacked and beginning to work with ourselves with more care.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. The Little Book of Big Lies. I remember the book. We talked about it before in my radio program. What are some of those lies that people, that they've normalized it so much, they don't even know it's a lie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all, because of the surviving self, have a dance with the "I'm not good enough."
Right.
Right. And that just is. Now, once you begin to understand that noise and don't believe it, the fact that it bubbles up out of human consciousness, right, is one thing. But your engagement with it is, you
can be aware
it's a
of
choice.
it. Yeah, you don't have to engage. You can be aware without resisting or fighting or amplifying it. Yes.
It's and so the Little Book of Big Lies, and I have to tell you that my second book is literally going to the editor tomorrow.
Wow.
Going to the editor tomorrow. So
good news.
It is. It has me very excited, and it delves even more into the specificity of things that we can do as practices in the same way that that doing crunches is going to service your strong physical core. And what are the kinds of tools and practices that we can invest in that help to strengthen that mental, emotional, and spiritual core. Right. And in the Little Book of Big Lies, and in this book that is coming,
You want to say do you know the title already?
I not yet.
You don't know the title?
I know the title.
You can't say the title.
I can't say the title.
Well, why not?
Just yet.
It's copyrighted.
Well, no, it actually is.
Okay.
But just
Tina,
in case. No. And your audience probably, if they don't know this, should know this. The aim is to put something in the world that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And so if my editor gets the book and says, "Oh, I think that there's another title that would be better that can do,"
Sure.
Yeah. And so I don't say it because I don't want you to lock into your mind the title that I have chosen.
You have it. Right.
When there might be a much better one to put on the book. But yes, so it is, some of the lies. My definition of a lie is anything that leaves you feeling less than, not good enough, afraid, ashamed, or disconnected from yourself. Whatever event, whatever statement, whatever that is, it is a lie.
Absolutely. No, that's universal truth.
Exactly.
That's universal truth, because a lie believed acts as a law until it's neutralized. So it's still a lie, even though you may experience, you're feeling not good enough, and then you may have that experience of not feeling good enough, and you may get reflections back from the world that you're not good enough. It's still a lie.
It's still a lie.
Even though you've experienced it.
And even though you have attracted, agreement.
Right. It's still a lie.
Or you think it's agreement.
Right.
It's still a lie.
According to the infinite self.
Yeah, it's still a lie.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
lying. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. So that's a lie. And I'll tell you a lie that a lot of people can relate to immediately. The lie of, I'm upset because you didn't return my call.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Break that down. I love this.
Right. I'm upset because you didn't honor your word when you said you were going to do whatever it is that you were going to do. What is true, what is more true than what you are reacting to, is that there is upset that lives in you already.
Right.
Regarding a historical event.
Break it down, Tina. Break it down.
Yeah, where you did not feel yourself or see yourself honored, and it disrupted your sense of yourself, and it was left unresolved. past. And so every time something like that happens, your unconscious responds like the surviving self does,
Right.
because the surviving self is going to keep it close,
Right.
because that hurt.
Right.
But we survived it.
We survived it.
So we're going to keep doing more of that, right? That's why you need the thriving self, so that you can see, oh, I keep doing more of that. And by seeing that I keep doing more of that, I actually give myself the opportunity to want, yearn for something else and do something different.
It's interesting. You know, sometimes I get feedback that I don't get upset enough about things. You know, that doesn't mean I like something, but I don't feel I need to be upset about it. I feel I just need to give feedback and change something. But why do I want to let it upset me?
That's right.
You know, it's just like, no, I don't like that, but why aren't you more mad at that? What? No, I don't have to do business with that person.
That's
or right. I can correct that. I don't have to be upset about it.
Yes.
That's only going to hurt my
That's right.
chemicals in my body.
That's right.
So,
well, that's because you have, through your spiritual practice, perfected one of the most important, rules of life. And it's been said a million ways, but you don't take things personally.
Absolutely.
Right?
No.
And the reason we don't take things personally is that what someone else is doing is about them until I make it about me.
About me, absolutely.
Right?
It's none of my business.
Right?
Why you are the way you are. God bless you.
One of our so we use prompts and we use practices. So just regarding that,
Right.
I'll share with you a prompt, simple little prompt, simple little ditty of a thing. But, the universe is a creative medium. You cannot deny that, right? And as offspring of the universe, we are creative mediums. And so really, the only thing that is ever happening in life is life, being a creative force, bumps into you as a creative force, and it creates something.
Yeah.
Out of
you, out of your perception, your opinions, your beliefs, your points of view, your triggers, unconscious or conscious. Absolutely.
And so we literally, with our responses, are creating what comes next.
Yeah. And there's response or reaction. Response, you can respond from a higher space, or you can react from survivor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's choice that comes from expanded consciousness, that comes from practice.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about another role, caretaker. Yeah. That's a hell of a role. Yeah. Because you had to come into a role of caretaking your mom. Yeah. What did you learn from this?
Oh my God, it changed me.
Yeah.
It changed me.
And you're probably your whole understanding of caretaking.
Yeah. So here's what I know today that I didn't know before taking care of my mom. It's a very hard job. It's a very hard job. And it is, there are, like 100 million people in this country who are caregivers. And caregiving is, it starts from taking care of a child all the way to taking care of aging parents, right?
Yes.
So, or sick people, it just doesn't matter. So the difficulty in the job is being present to the fact that there will be times that it feels like you can't do it and you don't want to. And you will need to have the resources, meaning the interior resources, inner resources, to be able to help you move through that. That caregiving asks you to, in a very difficult situation, to remember that the person before you is more than a duty. Because when you are in a position of having to go to work every day and come home and manage, everything has to be scheduled. Your life goes from whatever freedom you had or didn't have into a much more constrained experience because everything's a thing. Taking your loved one to the doctor is a thing. And the number of doctors that you have to commit to and schedule into your life as someone ages with, with breakdown is not to be taken lightly. So you've got to schedule doctors. You've got to schedule you've got to
everything.
Medicine. You've got to schedule frickin' food. One of the most challenging conversations with my mom was, "What do you want for dinner?" I don't know. Oh, I don't know either, Mommy. What do you want for dinner?
Somebody's got to know here.
Yes, exactly. Hey, well, I don't know. What do you want? Mommy, you don't eat the food that I like. So I just want to get you what you want, right? That turns into a 20-minute conversation.
That you didn't schedule. So you had to kind of redefine caretaking as this came upon you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had to discover it because I've only ever had to take care of myself.
Right.
I've only had to take care of me.
Yeah.
So I had to discover what that looked like.
Right.
And I will tell you, it lets me know that we must think in terms of the future, because community is really important when it comes to these kinds of realities. I was fortunate enough to have within my family a committed community that rallied and was committed to helping Mommy. But a lot of people don't have people who are saying yes to the task. They've got siblings. But those siblings
may or may not
don't want their lives, to be disrupted. And so there's this one over here who, you can always depend on. And so he or she gets the brunt of the caregiving tasks. And the challenge with that is that it is so easy for people who have the proclivity to care to care at the expense of themselves. And that's a very real thing.
Did you find that in your experience?
Well,
or how did you manage that?
So I'll tell you that one of the very clear ways that I was aware that I needed to be mindful of myself was my mom had developed sort of dead weight, right? She was wheelchair bound and she couldn't really maneuver her body in the end. So taking her to the bathroom, putting her in the bed, those were all my responsibilities, right? Our responsibilities. And because Mommy was dead weight, right? Taking her to the bathroom where there's a tile floor put me in prayer every single time. Because I would say, please, be with me. Spirit be with me, God be with me, because I did not want my mother to fall on my watch.
Right.
Right?
That whole experience made you just more prayerful, more conscious, more alert in the middle of what you had to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
didn't complain about it. You prayed about it. You had to.
One of we have 14 practices for inner health and well-being, and that's part of the book that is coming. But practice number 1 is I ask for its assistance, that universal, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, support in everything that I do.
Absolutely.
Because it makes whatever the task is better.
Absolutely.
Easier.
Absolutely.
More, you become more present in it.
I always ask for help. Sometimes I'll say, I need some help here.
Absolutely.
Need some help here.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking to all 3 levels. I'm talking to the ancestor level, the angelic level, and then straight to the source of all creation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that you say that, because I'm talking to the universe all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's listening all the time.
All the time.
and you don't want to listen to the 80%. You want the 20% to be way more powerful, because the 20% is more powerful, because the oscillation of those thoughts
That's right.
are more powerful than the yen
That's
thoughts.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, everything I do.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that in because they see you as Aunt Vi.
Yeah.
They see you as the founder of Inner Fitness.
Yeah.
Your long career. I remember that movie Grand Canyon?
Hey, we went to the premiere of Grand Canyon together.
Yeah. And one time, I think it was that movie, we sold out Agape bought up the whole theater.
Yep.
I remember
Yep.
the individuals in the theater saying, "This is a very interesting audience."
the maybe 10 people who weren't Agape people.
Yeah, what's going on here? Because we all got everything
That's
from
right.
a very high spiritual
That's
level.
right.
That was it. So
That's right.
So people have, if they followed you, they've watched your acting career, which
Yeah.
has been long
Yeah.
and steady, and they may have known you now from Inner Fitness, but I wanted to show the other role too, that this being as a caretaker, because when my mother passed, she passed quickly. It was kind of almost a shock.
Okay.
So it was just within a couple of weeks, she was gone.
Oh, wow.
And my dad lived.
That's Alice.
Yeah,
Let's get it handled.
We were in the hospital, and they thought she was going to pass, and she said, nope. And she was talking to the people, the invisibles. She said, no, buddy, I'm not coming yet. I'm going to go home. I'm going to pass when I get home, okay? Okay, get me out of the hospital, Michael. And we went home, and we sat in front of her house listening to Heal the World by Michael Jackson and some other songs. We just kind of listened. Then we went inside, and we had a couple of weeks of getting some things together, and then she was gone, And then my dad lingered. I want to say linger. He did linger for a while, like at least 6 more years. He was very upset that my mother passed before him. Yeah. So he's a judge. He retired. He was about to go into the college system to teach law. He just cut down everything. So that was the caretaker. We had to take care of him. You know what I mean? And I shout out to my brother Akili. He was the primary person. Yeah. My younger brother, he tried. I did as much as I could, but I was on the road a lot. But my brother Akili, he did everything you did for Mom. Yeah. So I always hold him in a very Akili, you did it, man. You did it.
Well, if you're going to shout out Akili, I'm going to shout out Pam, because Pam, being a executive, a president, with 3 companies that she was running within her divisions, she actually carried the bigger brunt of caregiving, because I too would travel, but I would come home for hiatus and be home for maybe 6 months, and then I would step in. Right. But then I'd be gone for 6 months.
Yeah. I was in and out too. I was there, but Akili was there. Yeah. And so me and my daughter Michaela, we say, Akili,
I'm just hats off.
It was hats off.
Hats off.
So caretaking is a real thing. Yeah. And you grew in that area of your life.
Well, to the point that I believe that we are all going to be called to address the caregiving issue in this country more.
People are aging.
Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah.
But
yes. People are aging, and resources are constricting. Yeah. we've got to figure it out.
Right. And it begins with the heart, the compassion. So anything you want to say to the folks about anything, inner fitness that you didn't get a chance to say, or just whatever you feel that you're not, so when you leave today, you're not going to say, oh, I forgot to tell them. First of all, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. Yeah. I am at Tina Lifford across all social media. My website is theinnerfitnessproject.com. Go to YouTube and check out that Tina Lifford dream that will help you sort of see and understand the 3 selves, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm just beginning to build it. And, what you can see, you can change, and what you can feel, you can heal. And we must begin to prioritize the inner self to the point that we invest the time in it that we have invested in our physical well-being.
Absolutely. This is Tina Lifford, great actor, founder of Inner Fitness, caretaker, a lover of God, a lover of humanity, a lover of her infinite self.
A lover of you.
A lover of me. I'm a lover of her. And we didn't even give you some of the personal stories, but we'll have her back when her next book comes out.
Yay.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a beautiful and bright day. Choose it, intend it right now. Peace. Blessings to you, and welcome to these few moments of meditation. Just had a beautiful conversation with my friend Tina Lifford, and she's the founder of Inner Fitness. And I think as we consider meditation, we may want to consider it through that lens as well. That it's a kind of a building an inner fitness within yourself. Just as you can do cardio, you can do anti-gravity work with weights, you can do yoga and get your strength and flexibility. Meditation is a kind of an inner fitness vibratory frequency in which you are training yourself, so to speak, to sit on a regular basis, to extract your attention from the world of appearances, and to really get a sense of your oneness with life itself. And as you do this, you don't do this in a way that you shame yourself if you miss a day, or if you get caught up in the whirlwind of life and you find yourself not practicing for a few days. You don't use that as an excuse to beat yourself up and say you're a bad person. No, you just realize that you've gotten caught up to a degree, and you begin again. So that every single time you sit to meditate, you are beginning again. And that's one of the things that I teach in meditation, that whenever you sit, whether you are a veteran or whether you're just picking up the practice of meditation, you always enter into the field with, this is the first time I've ever meditated. So that you're not trying to bring a past version of yourself or a past experience into your present moment. This is the first time. So you take that on, whether you've missed a few days or whether you've been consistent. It's always the very first time. So whether you've heard me speak about meditation for a period of time, whether you've taken my retreats, or whether you've come to or viewed the Way of Meditation service at Agape every Sunday, 6:45 a.m. Pacific time, or whether you are participating in meditation here on the Take Back Your Mind podcast, consider this. This is the first time. Beginner's mind. We've never done this before. So with our beginner's mind, we hear the teaching, be ye as a child, that ye may enter into the realm of heaven. This is it. Let's stop. This is our first time. Return within. And this particular version of ourselves has never existed before, because we've had experiences and insights and responses and reactions to things. So we're a little bit different than we were yesterday and the day before. So this version of ourselves, this is our first time practicing the art and science of meditation. Now, consciously take your attention away from the world, away from what you're going to do when you leave these moments, and be right here. Notice your sky of mind, your inner landscape, and see the mood, the thoughts, the perceptions that are going on. Without judgment, just be aware. Now be aware that you are the one being aware, and that which is passing through, a mood, a perception, a belief, an opinion, that's just temporary thought forms just passing through your awareness. It's a cloud passing through the sky. Those are thought forms passing through the sky of your mind. You are awareness. Be aware that you are aware. Be aware that you are awareness. Be aware that within your field of awareness is your breathing. It's happening presently. And be aware, with expanded awareness, you come unto the frequency of choiceability. You now can choose. Let us choose gratitude. Let us choose the feeling tone that all of our needs are met right now. Choose it. You've pulled away from the world of facts and circumstances. Now you're choosing gratitude and that all of your needs are met. Let's feel into that right now. Gratitude, all needs met. Expanded consciousness, your ability to choose increases. Choose gratitude. Choose the feeling tone that all of your needs are met. As we give thanks and live in the feeling tone that all of our needs are met, the universal presence through universal law matches this internal broadcast that's radiating out from us. And lo and behold, the outpicturing and the manifestation of this feeling happens. We give thanks that this is so, and so it is. Amen. We slowly open our eyes, put just a little smile on your face so that the chemicals from your inner pharmacy begin to produce, the inner pharmacy begins to produce chemicals of tonic vibration, serotonin, dopamine, and more. Go forth with a smile into life. and life will smile back at you. Peace and blessings. I appreciate your letters and emails that you've been sending in, but also the notes you're sending on the Instagram and on the website, thanking me for Take Back Your Mind. And I thank you for your support. As I've said before, if you want to support Take Back Your Mind, support the sponsors. The main sponsor is the Agape International Spiritual Center, agapelive.com. We have a Facebook presentation, an Instagram presentation, a YouTube presentation, and a website presentation. You can donate to the sponsor at agapelive.com. It's one way that you can donate. It supports the podcast. Second sponsor is Nutrarise.com. You go to Nutrarise.com, those 3 lines up at the top, you touch that line, and you'll get Adaptozen. Adaptozen are my products. The Super Green Superfood Greens and the vitamin D3 K2. Both extremely good for your health, your nutrition. You support the sponsors, you're supporting the podcast. Have a beautiful, and as I like to say, a bright day, luminous day, because you are a luminous being. Peace and blessings. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in Taking Back Your Mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind, and you will take back your life. Peace and blessings.